Hey everybody. Beginning of my website here, I'm going to give an overview of Common Core, in particular for my school district faculty in particular. And I didn't want to spend a whole heck of a lot of time going over all the standards and all that stuff. That's not the concept of this website. The concept of this website is more about establishing and unpacking the standards and where to go with that. So I thought it'd be appropriate, though, to go briefly over these things, where we're going with it, and why, I guess, is the important thing. So, in the context of the curriculum and where we're at in the spectrum of things, I put this up here and I'm thinking about okay, where are we? Have you used them in your planning? Are you developing assessments with Common Core in mind? Maybe you've started utilizing rubrics. You've gone to some meetings. Heck, you don't even know where they are. You want to go to Texas where they don't have these power standards. So, um, some of the things that we want to look at, what is it for? Well, it's to prepare students for college and careers. It's all evidence based and it's aligned with college and work expectations. A couple websites that are useful for looking at this obviously is corestandards.org, where you can find the Common Core standards. And if you are in the state of Illinois, isbe.net has great tools to help you make meaning of the standards. What do they do? Well, it's to raise the rigor. That's one of those educational coin terms now, is rigor. Um, Developing that, making it something that is competitive internationally. They have looked at our Common Core standards and aligned them and compared them to high successful countries, and Common Core is right up there with them, aligned just like what they have, and it's structured around the four strands: reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and language. Once again, those are the two websites that you can use to find more information on them if you're in the state of Illinois. So what's missing from the standards? Well, how teachers should implement it. That's kind of one of the ways and reasons why I came up with this as my final project for this class is, well, how should it be implemented? I give one kind of way to do that, and there's probably a myriad of ways of doing it, but I've always thought that backwards design has been a very effective tool in developing those ways of implementing Common Core into the curriculum. And there's other things that are missing from the standards too, but for the sake of what we're looking at here and what I'm developing in this website, I'm focusing on how teachers should implement it. Some struggles, though, that I've heard, well, what are we doing to support English language learners or students with special needs? It's a hard concept to achieve, is to raise rigor and not leave these students behind. So what's changing? Well, there's a whole heck of a lot more literacy with informational texts, up to 70% by grade 12. And is that the English language arts' sole responsibility is to do that? And a lot of concerns are, oh, they're only going to be reading nonfiction text. That's not entirely true. That's across all strands of teaching, from science to history to English. So in reality, I bet you that number isn't too far off already. So some of the other things that we're looking at, what's changing with it: enrichment in academic vocabulary, writing from various sources, all sorts of heavy concepts of writing. One of the big things that you'll look at is text types and purposes is a huge concept in the Common Core. So how do we band that across? Well, I found this really nice visual from the Kansas Core Standards in Language Arts. Very nice, because we get to visualize, well, how does reading and writing span across everything that we do. Well, you can see here that from K all the way to 12 that these things are heavy. What I'm surprised with is that in history and social studies and the sciences and the technical subjects is that there isn't any kind of speaking and listening standards in there. Um, Considering how much presentation and information that you bring up in history, um, I found that surprising and revealing to me. So if you haven't seen the standards yet and you're one of those people, well, what are the key parts and what are some common words that you're going to be seeing throughout this website? Well, you have the strand, which is reading, writing, speaking and listening, and language usage. You have a strand abbreviation there, and you have a grade level, and your box subheading, which is key ideas and details, craft and structure. You're going to see those a lot in Anchor standards. And then you have your standard, which is right there. So as we unpack our standards, one of the big things that is important for us to do is think about what's important to keep in mind during this process. Well, we have to respect the beliefs of the teacher, students as learners, and interpretations. When you're unpacking standards, people are going to have different pictures of what things are going on and what skills are important, and you're more than likely going to be pretty close on the same page. And the big thing is that we have to look at the big picture. Where are we going with this stuff? Whether it be developing the curriculum or developing your ideas of what a standard means. What's the big picture? Where are we going with this? And I always find it to be very important that we go backwards. What's that big picture, and how do we move all the way down? And that's the concept behind this website and developing curriculum is getting that big picture and moving backwards. So some of the things that we're going to be looking at while we're going through this is, I kind of screwed up there, but overview of the Common Core, or reevaluate our unpacking of our standards, particularly Byron High School. We have to reevaluate our unpacking because I think there was something that we missed out on, and we have to re-examine that. And from there, we'll have to be able to establish those essential questions. And that's really heavy in backwards design. Wiggins lives on that essential questions. And I'm going to talk a lot about that when we get there. And then finally, where do we go? Define a path for our curriculum. And I have a nice little template on how we go about that. And at the end of this website, you're going to see a nice final product of beginning to end. How did we get there? And as an example.